already way past my time over here. Number 4, property tax base determined. Okay, so like I said, we do have to report values for every single property, the little over 12,500 or however many parcels we have these days. Every single property value gets reported to the Department of Revenue every year. Okay, we have, they're called PRISM submissions. We have to submit on time to the state. They will analyze that from year to year and make sure, okay, they were supposed to go up 10% or down to 10%. Did they really do that? So these are kind of our mini county summary reports that we send in. It is hundreds of pages long. We do it several times a year. But as you can see, I tried to kind of pull Winthrop City's information. Now this is last year, 2019 assessment, because we don't have 20 assessment done yet. But as you can see, you know, these are kind of some totals. Land, buildings, total estimated market value. So that third number there, 89,160,800. You can kind of see the breakdown. Commercial is about 12 million, industrial about 13.8 million, residential 59.8 million, and ag about 2.3 million. So again, they collect all this information. So basically, the assessor's office determines that property tax base. We don't determine the property taxes or the amount, we determine that base. Basically, who's going to pay what share of that pie. Okay, and then at that point, kind of moves over to the auditor's office to use that information to calculate taxes. Any questions for me? I know it's kind of quick.
In the evaluations of a property, let's say a residential dwelling unit, is it strictly just the building construction? So like, it doesn't matter like if you've made beautiful improvements with landscaping, this and that, you're looking at just the dwelling unit itself? Or are you taking the whole property? How does that work?
Right. So for mass appraisal, we're mass appraisal, the assessor's office is, because essentially we have to value 12,500 properties every single year. So, you know, we don't quite have a luxury of going and saying, okay, they put some paver stones and did, you know, kind of a, does it take into consideration the grade of the property? You know, possibly, you know, but we're not picking up landscaping or fences or things like that. But does it play a factor into your overall land value, you know, or your building value? Kind of, you know, it really isn't, it depends, answer, but when you're talking like mass appraisal, what our office does versus a private appraisal, you know, you get a private appraiser out there for your financing or mortgage or through the banks, you know, they might be taking a closer look at a lot of that stuff, and sometimes that's the question of, why is my private appraisal so different than the assessor's estimated market value? We're supposed to be close, you know, that's the concept of it being close to market value. But again, they kind of have a luxury, they're appraising one property and that's what they're focused on. We have 12,500 a year, so we can't be counting everybody's brick pavers and things like that. But certainly, you know, patios, things like that, you know, we do take that into account, and we are looking at the grade of the house.
So one other quick question, sorry. So how did the hailstorm that we were hit by, how did that affect things because of all the nice shingling and siding and windows and everything that took place?
Sure, so that was a very common question within the last 2 years of when that did come through. You know, and unfortunately with the Minnesota property tax system, you know, if you do upgrades to your home or you have property value that's higher than your neighbor's, that's the way our tax system is structured. You will probably pay more taxes. Now, as far as that goes, for hailstorm or damage, yes, there were a lot of properties that were improved in town, or they got new siding or new windows or new shingles. Again, I'm speaking on a mass appraisal basis, so if you ask a private appraiser, it may be different, but, you know, as far as shingling or re-roofing, we consider that, you know, maintenance. Maintenance that needs to be done on every property is going to be done at some point in time. We don't add any new construction for any of that shingling. Siding, the answer really is depends. If you had some slate siding that was original to the house and that's what was on there, and that kind of takes into consideration the condition of that property or that house. Okay, now the hailstorm came, you went and replaced it with steel siding or vinyl or you know, any of that cement board, any of that. Yes, that probably did add some more value, but you would expect to sell that property for a higher value, you know, and ultimately it really comes down to sales, market value. What would you place your property on the open market for? Okay, now if you had, and then that happened, you know, occasionally throughout town where people would upgrade or do something different. If you had vinyl siding before it was 5 years old, hailstorm came, you replaced it with the same type of vinyl siding or the similar construction material, we did not add any new construction, because basically it's the same condition as what it was. So it's kind of a loaded question, yes and no, but
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.